Association.
Or the developer, I guess whoever is the cause of it,
I think that would be a stretch.
Yeah.
One, if the association is sued, they have to defend the suit. Two, if the association brings a suit because it has construction defects, I think they're pretty much shielded from liability. I think it would be a stretch to say that the unit owner has any relationship with the developer that would say to the developer, I lost my sale because the association had to sue you. And it is interesting.
someone's going to try.
It could happen.
Well, the suit could happen, absolutely. Any suit could happen.
Am I understanding correctly that the Freddie and the Fannie really haven't changed much? That the information in here is
Well, it's
consistent with what it's been?
the biggest changes occurred December of '08 with Fannie, and Freddie followed suit.
They didn't hear the question.
Oh,
Please repeat.
I was just wondering if the Fannie and the Freddie have substantially changed or if they're pretty consistent with what it's been.
they have made some. They have over the course of the last year or so made some pretty substantial changes. They used to have. I mentioned limited review. In the past, Fannie had this limited review of a condo, and basically, if you had a low enough loan to value, if the condo basically existed and it was complete, you could basically get any type of financing for conventional financing for an owner-occupied or even an investment property. But with the changes they made in 2008, they changed that substantially to say that, yeah, we can do a limited review, but you still have to meet the established, which means you still now need 90% pre-sale. So in the past with Fannie, you could be the first in. You can't do that anymore.
What we found is, because we've been following the changes since the November 2007 changes, is takes the local banks, not even local banks, all of them, even the national lenders lending locally, just seems like there's a big lag time between when Fannie Mae announces something and when everybody catches on to it.
Right.
So I think that within the past year, we've started to see that everybody's catching on. But it's not as new as, obviously, as FHA, which only goes back to last month.
Any other questions? The only other topic here is just special assessments. Historically, HUD, if there were any special assessments, regardless of the size of the assessments, they wouldn't approve the project. They wouldn't allow a spot approval, and they wouldn't approve the project. With the new guideline changes, they're pretty silent on it, unfortunately, but I did speak to them, and what they did say was it does depend on the nature of the assessment, the amount of the assessment. They have to look at the overall budget, what the nature of the assessments are, et cetera, before they'll determine whether it's eligible or not. So if you have minor assessments, quite frankly, I don't think it's an issue, but if you have some pretty large assessments for major work to be done, that could preclude that from getting FHA approved. Do you have a question? No?
I guess I was just thinking that, from their point of view, they would probably rather see a special assessment, because then that means that the condominium is dealing with the problem so it seems almost counter to what they would want.
The question was, or the comment was that maybe the lenders would prefer to see a special assessment because it means somebody's addressing a problem. I think what Patty's going to probably respond to is she wants to know the nature of the assessment. If it's because of severe structural problems and it's a 10-year project or a 5-year project to complete it, they're going to be nervous during those 5 or 10 years.
It really is, like you said, about just if it's structural, if it could impact the safety and soundness of that project. If it's large enough that it could impact people's ability to pay the assessments, what does that do to the association? So again, it's case by case. The minor assessments I don't see an issue with. Where last year or even now, if you're doing a spot approval, any assessments deems it ineligible for approval, which is just crazy.
Another question, Pat? David?
Yeah.
How do you manage selling 50 to 70% of the new development if 80% of the people that are giving out loans won't loan to you unless you sold 70%?
I know, it's a bit of a catch-22.
The the question was, how do you sell 50 to 70% of the units if 80% of the market, FHA, Fannie and Freddie, won't give you loans?
Phasing obviously is key. A lot of local banks are willing to take the risk and be the first few in.
Marcus Arrigo, Emmer Brooks Savings and Loan.
But that's where you look to, you do look to the local banks because the secondary market lenders just don't want to take the risk on those new projects.
And this is supposed to encourage the economy to recover and for people to start developing things?
I don't make the rules.
Fannie and Freddie, unfortunately, are scared. FHA did the right thing under a lot of pressure, including, say, I putting a lot of pressure on them nationally, to come up with something that allows for 30% pre-sale, because at least that's, you can deal with that.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that Fannie and Freddie were at 50% prior.
Right.
They increased it to 70% because they got nervous.
They
Keep
got
in mind, they're getting
They're
beat
getting
up
hammered.
by Congress, by the press, by everybody.
And we'll be having a meeting here in 2 years when it all changes back.
I
hope
think
so.
it's going to start changing when I leave. The guidelines, and they just, they're trying to find their way. They're just having a really tough time.
Yeah, they're going along.
Well, it's a mess right now, and we're trying to fix it for sure. Yes. Yes.
We're asked to state if there is litigation to account something as small as sort of like collection of the owner. Is that something that we should state on our plan?
If you're party to a suit, yes.
But there's good news to that. Fannie and Freddie, if you answer that it's a condominium collection, yes, condominium collection, will not make the loan eligible.
Right. You're welcome.
Excuse me, Patty?
Yes. Where are you? Oh, you're right.
Just trying to get a word in edgewise.
Yes.
We all know the trick or tactic of supplemental fee as opposed to assessment. And what you're really saying is, oops, we need to do a supplemental amount of the budget. We don't know how closely this is going to be watched, but if, say, you have an association that does the right thing, has their 10% contribution, the way Stephen wants to calculate it as opposed to the way I teach you to calculate it, and then you do a $100,000 supplemental fee for a community that has a $200,000 budget. When that goes into the budget as a $100,000 supplemental fee, am I correct that they're now going to want to see another 10% go into reserve?
Yeah. Yes, they would. I will say one thing about limited review, which is nice. We don't have to review the budget. So if we get away with limited review, we're happy. But that's few and far between these days.
It's a supplement to the budget, Dave. You're the accountant, you have to. Gotta put it somewhere. They review the financial.
Do you have a question?
The way I write was a show.
Yep.
Could you repeat the question, please?
If you're phasing it, it would be by phase. For instance, in a new project, the 10% is excluding the units that the developer is selling. So I should have clarified that. So
10% of what's legally phased is supposed to 10% of the entire project.
that's correct. But in general, in new construction, the 10% single entity owning more than 10% excludes the developer who's marketing the units to sell. So if somebody came in and bought several units, that's what you have to look at. If it's an older project that's considered established, 90% pre-sale, the project's been around a while, and the developer still owns them, and now he said, I can't sell them, I'm going to rent them. That's a different story. In that instance, then you have to take that into consideration to the 10%. Yes.
Might want to turn the heat up a little bit, my ice is starting to cold. Get cold.
We're just trying to keep you awake. No, I had nothing to do with it, I swear. Yes.
I have a question regarding two previous questions. The first one was that the association could have some liability if a seller could not sell their unit because of